Majin Buu Saga of Dragon Ball Z is the final saga of the entire Dragon Ball Z show, and it closes a chapter here with Goku and his friends fighting against Majin Buu. Now, this saga has never been one I've always rewatched as a kid, even when I was obsessed with it. The Majin Buu stuff was never the most interesting part of the show for me. And to many people, that seemed to be the same case. It seemed like everyone's in agreement that the Majin Buu saga is in fact the worst saga of all of Dragon Ball. Now, I was rewatching this saga a while ago, and I had a lot of opinions about it, a lot of thoughts about it, and all in all, I have to say, after giving even more thought and rewatching some episodes a few more times, the Majin Buu saga is still a disappointment compared to everything else that came before, at least in the mainline story department. The pacing here and the storytelling is the messiest that Dragon Ball has to offer, at least up to this point. There's a lot of new characters being thrown at you. The Supreme Kai of Time, Deborah, got Bibbidi and Bobbidi and Boo and Super Boo and Majin Buu, Fat Boo. We got this random hench guy who fights one of the characters, and it's just a lot of new characters that is just thrown out at you, and you're just expected to go along with it. And admittedly, I cannot immediately think off the top of my head who these characters' names are. I know the Kaioshin, I know the Supreme Kai, and I know the Boo stuff, everything there, but it is admittedly a mess. But before that mess pops up, we get a really compelling story arc between Goku and Vegeta. During the World Martial Arts Tournament, Vegeta is excited to finally get a chance to hopefully fight against Kakarot and try to beat him once and for all. But because of this Majin Buu stuff, he is furious. He, despite understanding the gravity of the situation, doesn't care about really anything going on around him, because all he's been focused on throughout his entire life was this one rematch that he never thinks that he's ever going to get, because Goku sacrificed himself. He made a plea in the Cell Saga that he is never going to fight again, and it's not until Goku shows up that he's like, I'm out of retirement, I'm gonna go fight this guy. You're telling me I gotta wait even longer? And so this leads to Vegeta, after he, Goku, and Gohan try to go and stop Majin Buu, eventually coming to the decision he needs this fight most of all above anything else in his life right now. He doesn't care what it takes to get this fight, and so he makes an agreement with Bobbidi where he will become a Majin, and that will help him be able to obtain the strength he needs to try and defeat Kakarot, all while everyone else is trying to focus on making sure Buu doesn't hatch. Goku is trying to get Majin Vegeta out of his senses, and this is where Vegeta just piles on so much of what he's been through onto Goku to hopefully help him understand why he is longing for this rematch. And while in the manga the rematch doesn't last that long, in the anime you get an even longer version of that, and it is just fantastic. The choreography, the animation, it is great. This eventually leads to Majin Vegeta actually getting a win against Goku finally, technically, really. I mean, he caught him off guard just by tricking him, but he won the fight technically. But now he has to deal with the consequences of his actions, because now, because of him, Majin Buu hatched, and everyone is helpless to try and stop him. Until Vegeta decides, in order to atone for his sins of the past, not just for this moment of becoming Majin and killing so many people, but of his past from when he was a little boy up until this point in his life, he decides to risk it all on one final flash that could hopefully beat Majin Buu. Knowing that he will never be able to meet Kakarot in the afterlife, he says goodbye to his son and gives his life for the entire world. This was a fantastic character arc for Vegeta and is by far my favorite segment in all of the Majin Buu saga. Afterwards, then we get to the Buu stuff and it gets very messy. We get an awesome transformation sequence of Goku turning into Super Saiyan 3. But once we eventually get to the fight between him and Majin Buu, while being a lot of fun, doesn't feel that impactful really, because the story is still feeling a bit of a mess. We are still introduced to so much and we're expected to go along with it, and all of a sudden we just get this new transformation. I mean, the Bruce Faulkner score is great, but this still came out of nowhere, though there is a tiny bit of a build-up, at least. But compared to the transformations of Super Saiyan 2 and 1, this is nothing compared to those transformations on a storytelling and emotional level. Then we get Goten and Trunks learning how to fuse to try and beat Majin Buu, which eventually ends up in failure, and Piccolo tries to make sure everyone is safe, but fails to do so as he and Gotenks are the only survivors of all of Goku's friends who have now been turned to chocolate, and all of Earth had been killed. And Goku is once again in the afterlife. He has to get Gohan, who's also in the afterlife, trying to pick up the Z Sword, and he takes a bunch of episodes to do that, and then they do that, Gohan becomes like Mystic Gohan, and becomes a totally different character out of nowhere, and it's so weird, but the fighting is awesome, the animation is awesome. Then there is Gogeta or Vegito, I think, and he uses the Patar earrings to fuse with Vegeta after Vegeta comes back to life. You see what I'm talking about? It's so much going on with the Cell Saga and the Frieza Saga and the Saiyan Saga and all of the original Dragon Ball. Despite those sagas being long, you can still talk about them in a consistent manner. Apart from the Majin Vegeta stuff and the Great Sandman arc, there is so much happening here that it becomes so hard to try and keep up and to really get behind. There's just so much that happens that the last half of this saga becomes such a mess. And honestly, because of that, I really couldn't get into the story that much emotionally, because everything just happens. The writing is here, it's very sloppy, and you could tell that Akira Toriyama is just losing the flames here. And when we eventually get to the final battle between Kid Buu, where he destroys all of Earth and is destroying a bunch of planets and makes it to the afterlife, that's when the saga starts to pick itself back up again, and I really like that segment. I also love the few episodes where Fat Buu and Mr. Saiyan actually start to get along, and Mr. Saiyan convinces Fat Buu to not kill everyone, and it leads to a lot of very impactful and dark moments. That is stuff that I want to see more of. But the show here in this segment just want to focus on new power-ups, new characters, new locations, to where it forgets to tell a good story. Which, despite having my favorite Spirit Bomb attack, and probably the most emotionally resonant one because of what it means for all of Earth to try and help Goku and his friends in this one part of the show, to where they're all able to defeat Majin Buu, who is at this point the most powerful being in the universe, and Goku gives that amazing speech. That was great stuff. I wish it could have been more impactful if the storytelling was just as strong. This saga was honestly a disappointment. The ending itself really leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion. I mean, I get where they're going for there with that time skip, but it did not totally work for me, honestly. All in all, this last half of the Boo Saga is a great big mess and is a disappointing way to conclude Dragon Ball Z. Now, despite this, I still love Dragon Ball Z. It is still one of my favorite animes because the highs of this show are so high that it is just hard to not say it isn't great. But to say that it is not flawed is a lie. I mean, this saga proves it. It's just random stuff happening all over the place, but still, all in all, it can still be a lot of fun. I love the Majin Vegeta elements. A lot of the fight scenes are still fun. There's still some cool character moments. TN is pretty useless. The storytelling is sloppy, but all in all, I still love Dragon Ball. I just didn't love this arc in general. I'm going to give the Majin Buu Saga a C. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.